Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well today as we get into video number 1 of 1. There's only one today, not a double upload. Or is there? If you go to Shootout, and I'll leave a link right here, you'll get the Champions League roundup for yesterday's games over on Shootout. Go and have a look. We have an extra little bit of sprinkle in that video because not only are we back in the studio, not only is it top tier quality, but we've also got the lights that are in favour of what we're talking about. We thought about every single little thing. So go over there, check it out. Make sure you're subbed over there. Make sure you're there for the watch along this Saturday as Chelsea take on Liverpool. And we hope that maybe Chelsea can get 3 points at home against Liverpool, who are on a little bit of a downer. Anyway, we go into some of that in that video. Go and have a look. Much appreciated. That was earlier today. There'll be more tomorrow based on tonight's Champions League games. And more is coming during the international break, both here and on Shootout. So make sure you guys are here for all the extra content. Now, let's get cracking. I'm going to start on a very nice lovey-dovey note. Yeah, let's start on a lovey-dovey. Why not? Remember I showed you guys Teresa Connolly, who is the second longest serving Chelsea staff member of 48 years, right? Who met Jose Mourinho prior to the day before the day before the game against Benfica, and they hugged it out, long time no see. Well, guess what? Not only did we get Teresa, 48 years, check this out. Hugs for legendary former Chelsea employee Brian Pullman, who came back from retirement especially for this match. That's Brian Pullman. Now, Brian Pullman, I feel like these things are very important to highlight because when people say, oh, Chelsea got no history, let's talk about history. Yeah? Let's talk about history. Brian Pullman. Teresa is the second longest serving member of all time at Chelsea Football Club. Brian is number 1. 56 years of service to Chelsea Football Club, and he retired last season. So only last season he retired, called it a day. He came back out of retirement specifically for this game just for one thing. Just to give Jose his custard creams, because that used to be what he done for him back in the day when Jose was here the first and second time. He used to always make sure his custard creams were there. He was going to come out of retirement just for the custard creams. And best believe Jose found his custard creams when he got to the press conference. This is the history of the Chelsea. Yeah? This is proper Chelsea. So Brian Pullman, that's dedication. To come out of retirement just for that, yeah, I think is fantastic. That's why it deserves a mention. I think it's phenomenal. Just for the custard creams. And you best believe Jose took them. And he left Brian a few. Now, I love it. Jose wasn't the only one in attendance. And we didn't hear about this. This one went under the radar. And I don't know why. Well, I guess I know why. Because he's England manager. So it's not really a return per se. But Mr. Audi TT was in the house as well. Yeah, there he is. Tommy T was at the bridge too, but he was high up in the clouds where no one could see him. And someone got a picture with him as well, you could see over there, with basically no one sitting near him. So Tommy T had basically all the seats there to just watch in peace. No reunions for Tommy T. He came as England manager. He came on England duty. He's paying attention to all the English players and making sure that he's getting all the information he needs. But yeah, you know, tight coat. Cap on, disguise, unseen. But anyway, it's mad to think that we had Mourinho and Tuchel in the ground at the same time. It's only fitting we won 1-0. It's only fitting. But big up to Thomas Tuchel as well. Good to see him. And obviously we get to enjoy Thomas Tuchel, at least in some sort of a capacity. England manager, like I've said, 2026 World Cup. It's coming home. Anyway, let's get into serious matters. So, The Athletic have decided to come out with this in relation to deadline day. Check this out. Chelsea considered buying a replacement for Nicholas Jackson in the final 48 hours of the window as negotiations with Bayern continued, but they opted against it, partly because at such a late stage there was not a standout candidate. Now, in terms of the striker situation, well, yeah. You leave it till deadline day, you're not exactly going to sign Erling Haaland, are you? So, yeah, there was no one to really get that late. The whole plan was to get Nicholas Jackson sold long before. And we didn't do it. We failed in that department. But there seems to be ramblings from Bayern Munich that they are looking to keep him permanently, irrespective whether he plays 40 or does it. He's not going to play 40, but still, they're looking like they're going to be keeping him permanently. That's what we're hearing out of Bayern anyway at the moment. So let's wait and see until the end of the season. Things can change very quickly with Bayern Munich. But yeah, you're not going to get a replacement of a top caliber, you know. I have to say, we spoke about this on All You Can Eat briefly, and we've said this privately, even with George. It would have been nice to have someone like a Danny Welbeck to come off the bench, innit? Just as a third option. Danny, you're going on for 20 minutes. Yep, no problem, mate. Go. You know, the same way we used to have Giroud. That we could do with someone like that. Now, the whole striker situation seems a little bit weird at the moment. And the reason why it's weird is because of Jackson. We decided to recall someone, correct? So here's a question. Why haven't we seen him yet? That's Marc Guiu. Here's why, perhaps. Marc Guiu has yet to play a minute since coming back. Appearing for Chelsea would mean he could not be loaned out again in January because you cannot play for more than 2 clubs in a single campaign. That surely has to be a factor, even though it is not ideal for the player's development. So, I have to question here. Have to. Why did we bring him back then? You know, have we stopped his entire loan? Where, to be fair, some people would argue, yeah, the Sunderland loan was pointless anyway because he wasn't going to be playing anyway. Well, this shouldn't have happened in the first place then. But have we brought him back just in case if there's a mad emergency and we've got literally no one? So João Pedro gets injured. Delap is still out. Tyreek George gets injured. Pedro Neto gets injured. We got no one left. We have to go to Marc Guiu. Cool. That's the only scenario we brought him back for. I don't think that's really worth it. You know, we should have kept him on loan. Now they say January. I'm guessing because in January we're expecting Liam Delap to be back, right? What I think is going to happen here is, I think it's pretty obvious. It might not be 100%, it might not happen, but I think it's very, very plausible. And that plausible scenario is Omega arrives at Chelsea from Strasbourg in January, and we send Marc Guiu to Strasbourg instead. And he goes off on loan to play regular minutes in Strasbourg as a replacement for Omega, who's already getting stick at Strasbourg. And I think for all parties, everyone would be kind of, not satisfied, but happy, I guess, relieved, you could say, that he's left Strasbourg, he'd go to Chelsea, Marc Guiu will get minutes, Strasbourg will get a striker, everyone's a winner. I think that's the more likely scenario that's going to play out here. And Chelsea have brought Marc Guiu back just as an absolute must emergency. I mean, at face value, it just does not look good whatsoever. But I don't agree with taking Marc Guiu off the loan circuit. You know, even if the loan to Sunderland wasn't good, well, why did we loan him there in the first place then? No point. Absolutely no point. But if it means that Omega arrives in January, Marc Guiu goes the other way, that is a solution. But how many minutes would Omega get in that case? And I think it would mean he would be the third striker without question. It would be João Pedro, Liam Delap and Omega. What I want to ask is, would you guys be satisfied with those guys as the 3 striker options? João Pedro, Liam Delap, Omega? Let me know. Let me know, because there's been one piece of news that has come out today, and I have to show you this because I think it's ridiculous. But because this person or this page has gotten a lot of credit because of David Ornstein, I think it's only fair we show you and get your opinions on this. So, here it is. Indicalia has said Chelsea to target striker in the January transfer window. We understand the agent of Ivan Toney has met Chelsea officials. The player is interested in a move back to the Premier League in a loan deal. Hang on. Let me check something. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, Ivan Toney, yeah? Yeah, okay. Who's paying his salary? Of course, it's a load of waffle. The man's getting paid 400 grand a week after tax in Saudi Arabia at the moment, hence why he went to flipping Saudi in the first place, and all of a sudden we're linked with him for January. So who's covering the salary then? Tell me. Because it sure as hell isn't Chelsea. And it sure as hell isn't going to be Saudi if the player's not with them. So tell me, are you paying this? Indy Kalia? Are you paying his salary? Because if you are, let us know. Let us know. I'd take Ivan Toney tomorrow. But it's not happening, is it? Okay. David Ornstein, what have you done, mate? What have you done? What was it? He's hyped up this page and one time, and all of a sudden, boom. Stocks went from tier 100 to tier 1. And now he's just coming out with nonsense. So, anyway. Enzo Maresca. Let me know your thoughts on that last one. Maresca, what's the latest with him? Well, I think this is what we all already knew. But here it is from Kieran Gill at the Daily Mail. Enzo Maresca will be reviewed at the end of the season, and the key area of judgment will be whether or not he secures Champions League football again. Chelsea believe this season's squad is better than last season. You know what? Offensively, I agree. And this is why I expect, or at least expected, up until the defensive issues just completely clouded over everything. But why it's not like the team has scrubs. You know, we're absolutely useless. We're not. We can do something as long as we utilize our attack more than relying on our weak defense. I think that's the way for Chelsea to move forward. So I would agree in that sense of offensively, but defensively? No. Defensively, we're a mess. We're a mess. And I got to put this out there as well for Fana, who's been out. Now, remember after he got his concussion, he's been ruled out for 3 games. I'm not sure concussion rules you out for 3 matches, I'll be honest. You know? I mean, we saw him limping in that game, but then he got concussed because Jorgensen punched him in the head. Fantastic. That's just to round it all up, really, isn't it? But clearly, we've got players that are just either not fit or now they're suspended. We're getting red cards, left, right, and centre, right? Defensively, we are weak. Specifically at centre-back. Specifically. You know, because when you got Reece James, you got Cucurella, cool. Some people would argue for Malo Gusto. I just think he's inconsistent, and I think defensively he's not good. Offensively, he contributes. Defensively, though, shocking. And even offensively, we saw what he done against flipping Brighton. I mean, that was criminal. But the aim for the end of the season, I understand if the club want continuity. You know, it's a case of, okay, we qualified for Champions League once. We got to make sure we do it again. I get that, but we should be aiming higher. Now, should Maresca be judged on something higher? I think the minimum for his job should be Champions League football. Minimum, right? Anything less, it's not even a question if he stays in the job or not. It's not even a question. It should be the bare minimum, and you should still analyse the job that he's done, because realistically, we should be aiming, but I think we can all sympathise with Maresca as well. And we can all say, you know what? The situation we're in isn't all him. It's not. When we've got what we've got defensively, and we ended the transfer window in the way that we ended, where at one point the window was looking very bright because of the attacking players we brought in, bar maybe 1 or 2. When you look at Gittins, for example, that just does not look like a good deal whatsoever. Then I think you can sympathise with Maresca and say, yeah, you know what? He shouldn't just be the one to pay for everything. Unfortunately, the game that we're in, it's the Maresca, it's the manager, not Maresca. It's the manager, the head coach specifically now, that ends up with no job or ends up with a job. So let's wait and see how this season's going to end. I'm intrigued to see where this season's going to end, because now there's some uncertainty in terms of how far we can go in the league. Top 4 is no guarantee now. That's for sure. When you're defending the way we're defending, it's not good at all. You know, this is why I say we have to put all of our stocks, put all of your chips on attacking. Just outscore the opponent, because we have the firepower to do so, 100%. But we will concede. Oh boy, we will concede. And that's just a situation, realistically, after spending 1.5, close to 2 billion now, we shouldn't be having these issues. We just shouldn't. And financially, there's always these issues because we've seen the way that the transfer window's gone. We've seen how much we have to sell in order to make sure we've got funds to buy. The front a shirt sponsor. All of these things add up to what the manager is going to end up with in terms of players. So I think we have to mention all of this as well when judging Maresca. Maresca, for me, the only issue he made was in those 2 games where we went down to 10 men and he didn't know what to do. With 11 men, like yesterday, I thought he was great. Everything he done was superb. Perfect, right? We can't see those same errors again. And as long as we don't see those mistakes or we don't see any shenanigans or any selections that make us go, what? Hang on, that doesn't make any sense. As long as that's the case, whatever result comes through, you have to look at the squad that we have and not just Maresca. I think that's only fair. And that goes to recruitment, of course. So Maresca is going to be judged at the end of the season. Let's see what we end up with. I think most Chelsea fans, and let me know what you guys think, agree that, you know what, the league is asking for too much. But we are due a cup run. We are due well, not a cup run. Let me take that back. I'm not using those words. No. We have to win something. Yeah? FA Cup, League Cup. People reckon we've got more chance in the Champions League than we do in the league. And I agree, because at the end of the day, the Champions League, but it's still a cup competition. And we seem to do well in cup competitions. So you never know. Cup competition, you never know. Anyone can win it. But the league, the league requires consistency, requires form, requires calculation, requires rotation, requires squad, requires fitness, requires goals, requires no conceding, requires all sorts. Let's see what happens against Liverpool on Saturday. That's going to be the prime test right now to see exactly where we are. Off the back of that bad form and off the back of that win at Benfica, we're going to get confirmation of where we really are against the strongest team in the league, bar none. So let's wait till Saturday. Let me know your thoughts down below on Maresca getting judged at the end of the season. Let me know what you think and let me know what you would do. Now, other news before we wrap up. News from Italy. I've got to show you this because this is football heritage. Here it is. The long goodbye to San Siro has begun. By the time Italy co-hosts the Euros with Turkey in 2032, a new 71,500 capacity stadium should stand on the car park adjacent to the current Stadio Giuseppe Meazza. Emotions will run high over the demolition of a ground Milanisti and Interisti have called home since 1926. This is where all memories were made, here in one place, and experiencing the mystique of San Siro was a box to be ticked on every fan's bucket list. But change is needed. The €1.2 billion Euro redevelopment project is seeking to keep Milan and Inter relevant. And we've got James Horncastle on why one of Europe's most iconic stadiums to be demolished and rebuilt. And I just want to show you this picture. Here's a San Siro, and just look at this. This is Materazzi, Roy Costa, who we mentioned yesterday on Shootout because Roy Costa is managing Benfica. That picture is iconic. Absolutely iconic. They don't make them like this anymore. They just don't. I don't want to sound like an unk, but it's just true. That era is never coming back. And the San Siro epitomizes one of the greatest built stadiums of all time. Just this, big up the San Siro. It's going to be emotional, 100%. We will all shed a tear when that stadium gets destroyed. Because that is what that stadium stands for. One of the most iconic grounds ever. And then we're probably going to get some modern day spaceship that looks like just glass built next to it, I guess. But nothing comes close to that, does it? Nothing. Big up to the San Siro. But at the end of the day, I do agree with what the article has said there. Change is needed. And we don't all like change, but change is needed. You have to adapt or perish. You have to step up or step aside. Nothing lasts forever. And I think we know that better than most. Roman was here 5 minutes ago. All of a sudden, gone. Not out of his own doing, not out of our own doing, out of people that have nothing to do with this football club. And all of a sudden, Roman's not here anymore. Anything can happen. You never know what's around the corner. So always take it in. And change is not something we all like, but it's something we must do. Now, Amrim, United, we're going to end here. Here's the latest from The Athletic as well. The pressure is mounting on Ruben Amorim, but as Manchester United weigh up what to do, they must also consider the cost of removing him. This person, C. Weatherspoon, explains how much Manchester United have spent on sacking managers since Sir Alex Ferguson departed and why those costs will be felt harder than ever before. And we've got the list of mad salaries. The managers that have been sacked. Specifically, Jose's taken the cake there. Listen, no one does a sacking like Jose. Nah, no one. The man walked away with 19 million. You love it. George Mendes, mate, you know how to work a deal. I'll tell you that now. The amount of money this guy's picked up from severance packages is absolutely outrageous. Yeah, how much is Amorim on? I'm curious to actually see that. I don't actually know. Let me see. What is Amorim's salary? We're going to find this out together. He's on £6.5 million a year. Oh, okay. I mean, that's it's not the highest, but it's not the lowest either. So, okay. Well, I've already made that prediction. I've already said, and I think you guys agree. I think he's cooked. We might see him get sacked after this weekend. Because if they don't get a result against Sunderland, that's the end. And then they've got an international break to go and get a new manager. So I think that works out brilliantly in terms of timing. But let's wait and see what Man United are going to do against Sunderland. Now, if you want to know my prediction for Man United Sunderland and all the other fixtures, make sure you guys are here. Well, not here, but link in the description. Shootout, we'll be giving you guys the Premier League predictions after the Champions League roundup tomorrow. So make sure you guys are there. The Premier League predictions will be uploaded, I think, on Friday. So make sure you guys are there for that one. And yeah, let us know what yours is as well over there in the comments. But let me know what you think of everything that I've discussed in this video down in the comment section below here. And I'll catch all of you tomorrow for a brand new one, or maybe a brand new two. I'll see you then. Have a good one, people. Look after yourself. Subscribe, notification bell on. Take care, and peace.